Hey, this is Edwin Dearborn, another edition of Growth Driven, where we bring to you experts on business and marketing and all kinds of neat stuff. And I'm excited about this one because I don't get to interview a lot of guys about e-commerce. But today, Michael Duff is going to tell you how he is succeeding in e-commerce. Hey, Michael, how you doing?
Very good, Edwin. Good to see you.
Yeah, you too. So, hey, everybody on Growth Driven, if you're watching, this is Michael Duff. I've known him for a number of years, and I don't know how long you've been doing this, but from what I understand, mutual friends of ours, you've been doing really well in the e-commerce business, particularly with your skincare line, In Your Face Skincare, which is such a great name. It's so New York to call it In Your Face.
Indeed. Yes, it's a line my wife and I co-founded about 3.5 years ago. And I don't know if this is the good time for the backstory, but
Please.
As we knew each other because I have had a marketing company of my own for 20 years or so, dealing mostly with e-commerce clients. And
Nice.
some very high traffic, high volume, Magento sites, and it's a technology, an e-commerce technology. And we started this idea, sort of a little side thing, with this cream, which we called In Your Face cream, and it really just took off. And I decided to actually apply all of the things that I tried to get my clients to apply. And I will say that I'm happy to announce that they work.
That's such a great way to learn things. It's like you spent so much time helping others. It's almost like you built up this checklist, saw where the mistakes were, and he said, "You know what? I'm gonna put my own advice to work on the skincare line."
Yeah, and it is. There was a fair amount of, okay, this is what I know works.
Yeah.
And for some reason, the client doesn't do it that way. Maybe they don't do it fully or whatever. And then they come back and like, well, it didn't work. And it's like, but you didn't do it. So that kind of frustration. And it's nice. I mean, I've run all the marketing here. So it pretty much lives and dies with me, which is, it's that double-edged sword. When things are good, it's good. And when things are bad, it's all me. So it's good that way.
You get the glory and the blame all in 1 week, potentially.
Indeed. I had someone ask me recently, they were new getting into the e-commerce space, and they said, well, maybe you can shoot me a couple of emails and like, let me know how to do it. And I was like, a couple of emails, like it's literally everything that I do every day. And it's all of the things that I've learned. It is, there's a lot of people out there doing it well. I mean, Ezra Firestone, who has Molly Pittman working with him now, they're great at this, and they're actually in a similar market that we're in. But there's tons of people who market e-commerce well. And what really one of the bigger advices I give to people is find someone that is in an industry that you're in and look at what they're doing. Really just kind of take a look at what they're doing and try things. And don't be afraid. This is probably my best advice is don't be afraid to fail, and don't be afraid to lose a little bit of money.
Yeah.
Especially with Facebook ads. We're actually doing pretty well with them right now. And we're not spending a ton, but we're spending a fair amount, almost to the uncomfortable point.
Yeah.
But it's good because, we're making the return on it. So it's finding that balance of the knowledge, right, of how exactly to, I mean, we certainly don't have enough time to go into nuts and bolts of how to run campaigns and all that kind of stuff. But but doing things and keeping your eye on it. There's so much to go over, and like I'm already feeling myself jumping off into
Yeah,
well.
go down
So
the
here's
rabbit hole.
something. Yeah, and it is. But what's great about it is something to really, you can immerse yourself in
Mm-hmm.
and play, and just play and find out what works. Find out what works for your market. I've had clients in my from my marketing company who have very different products than skincare, and the approach that we would take with them was very different, just because it's a different market. Are you doing a consumable market that there's turnover in the product, or are you doing we had a client who was doing a security system for cars. It's not something people are going to be buying every month, so the approach is different.
Yep.
It's but really knowing what your market is, and like I said, seeing what's working and try stuff.
Yeah, that's great advice. If you're just joining me now, or you're joining me later on YouTube, a month from now, 2 months from now, maybe a year from now, I had someone reach out to me yesterday that saw me on a podcast a year ago.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, this will also be uploaded to 15 different podcast channels, but I'm with Michael Duff. He is the creator and the marketing guru of inyourfaceskincare.com. I'll say that again, inyourfaceskincare.com. Definitely check them out. Beautiful website, great products. And, you brought up something, Michael, to me that really resonated with me, and you used the word immerse. And I think that's such a key element to success. I remember Gary Vaynerchuk said something very similar, where people are like, well, I don't know how to do Facebook ads. And he was like, well, then go to YouTube and immerse yourself in 100 hours, literally fly to an island, go to Grenada, and then spend 100 hours learning YouTube ads or Facebook ads through YouTube, and I think not enough entrepreneurs do that, really immerse themselves and try things and fail to eventually coming to that success that obviously you brought that point up, and I think that's probably a key element of your success.
Yeah, it is. I think it's a mindset that I learned many, many years ago. My sordid past, I actually had a band on Columbia Records a million years ago. And when younger artists or other artists would ask, how did you do it? And I would tell them, I had a sales job on the phone. I would start at 7 in the morning and work till 3:30 in the afternoon. I would go home and eat, probably work on songs until 5, where we would rehearse till 10 o'clock. And that was 6 days a week.
Yeah.
And Sunday I would work on songs because I was the main songwriter. And that was all of the time. So it really is a mindset where if you want to do something, you can't be binge watching Game of Thrones. You can't be, playing Call of Duty 4 or 5 hours a day. If you want to do something else, if that's what you want to do, brilliant. Then do that. Just don't complain that your side hustle isn't moving, because you need to put the time in. And that was always back in the day. I would be met with like the deer in the headlight look of like, really? I'm like, yeah, it takes work. Everything takes work, but that's the immersion that you were talking about. I know you talk about that a lot, of really digging into and being a professional at what you do, right?
Yeah. Well, it's like the old line, it's called show business. It's a business.
Yeah.
And when you treat show business like a business, then there's the ROI on the business. You took that same discipline, that same mindset, as you call it, into the skincare marketing website development world.
Yeah.
You saw all these guys make their mistakes, and it's almost like you compiled a list of here's what not to do, and I'm going to go do it. And then here's the things I saw that worked, and you kind of developed a hat, if you will, of how to go along that.
Yeah, there are, and as you know, it's changing rapidly all the time. But
Yeah.
I will say the basic things really haven't changed a whole lot in the 20 something years that I've been doing marketing. It's, do you have a good product? Are you communicating about it? Are you making it easy for somebody to buy it? And it's, you know, because we did design, actually, my firm was designed by other firms to just design sites, very large sites, for them to build, because they knew that we could get from point A to point B quickly and it would look beautiful. But that is the kind of the secret of really, how simple is it? How simple are you making it for somebody to buy your product? And whether that's getting your message in front of them enough, reminding them that you're there once they've made a sale. We send at least 3 emails a week to our list, and it takes a lot of work.
Yes, it does.
They remember us. And I have another client who is in actually a similar market. They're a skincare company in a similar market to us, and we can't get them to do more than 1 email every couple of weeks. And they're running very, I think they're spending $500 a month on Facebook ads. And I'm trying, and I push them, Like I said, these are all the things that I try to, like I tell my clients you need to do, and they don't do them. And I'm like, okay, so this is what I know works. I'm going to do it for my company. And their email list is 6 times as big as ours. And I think this month we're going to outsell them.
It's incredible. And, you know, I'm glad you brought up the topic of email. I am such a big email guy, and it's good to hear that e-commerce is big on email. I was at Grant Cardone's 10X conference in Las Vegas, the city where I live, last year. And I forgot that it was Ryan Deese. I think he had Ryan Deese as one of the speakers.
Yeah.
And Ryan Deese was like basically stripping all the false concept of marketing. And he goes, okay, you ready for the big platform that's going to rock your world in 2021? And everybody's like, right, you know, it's probably Instagram videos.
Right.
He said, email.
Yeah.
Email is the backbone of marketing success.
Yeah.
And here you are, solidifying that Ryan datum that I learned last year right here in your own application. So it's good to see that you've got that fundamental working well for you.
Yeah, it is a company, sales, marketing, it's a relationship, really. Like you should have a relationship with your clients. If you're like a one and done kind of business model, I mean, there's not a lot in it as far as like a I think anyway, long term. I think any company, to really grow, they have to be engaged, and they have to communicate, and they have to be, you know, once you communicate to somebody, they're probably going to want to communicate back to you. And as I found out as a musician, when you communicate, you play a show, people communicate back, they applaud, they also buy the record. And that's another way they communicate with you. And it's for an e-commerce store, you communicate, you send the emails out, you put posts out on social media, you answer the posts, you engage, you build a relationship, and that relationship matures over time. And if you're playing the game, what I think smartly, you're looking at lifetime value of a client. You're not looking at the one sale. You're looking at lifetime value of a client.
Great point. And, you know, in your face skincare, obviously you want to have clients for the next 10, 20, maybe even 30 years, maybe even longer than that. You build a big brand like Revlon or Chanel, and you turn that over to your kids, and now they've got a business, and you have a legacy company.
Exactly. The products, we My wife is the key. She's the asset. That's what I call her.
Okay.
All the formulas she's in charge of all of the formulas. She does all the testing. She has groups of women that she tests these on. Some men too. I happen to be one of them.
Yeah.
And so before any products are released, like we know it's going to work or not, or if it's not going to work, we don't do it. So there's just a lot of, we spend a lot of time sort of on the ground, making sure that this is something that we want people to have.
Mm-hmm.
And we feel proud that they have it. It's not something we're selling and we're kind of hiding, hoping that they don't reply. It's like we know that the majority of people, unless for some reason there's an ingredient in there that doesn't agree with them, we know that they're going to really love it because we spend a lot of time on it, so that is important. I think, again, back to having a really good product is important.
Amen. I also see that, because I follow you and your wife on social media, and there's a lot of enthusiasm and affinity between you guys, just in general, there's an effusiveness to you guys. And I think that effusiveness infuses into your product, if you
that's
know
awesome.
what I mean. So
yeah, I would like to think so. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the product is just the result of all that, passion that you have for each other and passion for quality. And of course, when you communicate that way, and it's also in the product, you've got a winning combination. What is there kind of a product extension or some new ideas that you guys plan on coming out with In Your Face skincare?
We are always working on new products. In fact, we launched one last week. We'll be launching another one in a couple of weeks. There's more coming down. It is one of the things that we realized is super important for expansion.
Mm-hmm.
We know that the cream, which was the original product, is probably always going to be our marquee. That's probably always going to be our calling card. In Your Face cream, it just rolls off the tongue, but we do know that we know, because we got feedback from the clients, again, because it's a relationship, they just want more stuff from us because they love the product so much. And I'm a marketer. How am I going to say no to that? This is a willing audience.
Can you sell me more products?
Right. I mean, if you look at the three types of traffic, right? Cold, who don't know you; warm, who are familiar with you but may not have bought; and hot, they bought. These guys are really hot. They're like, they bought and they want more. And like, okay, yeah, we'll work that out.
Yeah, I remember what was it, the one with the bees, the natural
Birch bees?
Birch bees, yeah.
Birch bees,
when it first came out, 10, 15, 20 years ago, however long, it was just like one product, I think.
Oh yeah.
Two products. Now they have a whole section in CVS and Albertsons or whatever store you go to. It's like, I mean, they product extension beyond.
Yeah, it is a key. You have to do it. I mean, even when you talk to any of the successful Amazon guys, the guys who have products and that's all they do. They sell the products on Amazon. And every one of them who is really successful will tell you, yeah, well, we started with one, of course, because you start with one, you get the feel of it, you learn the ins and outs and the keywording and all that sort of stuff. But that can only take you so far.
Yeah.
So you need to, the guys who are really killing it, they're 20, 30 products or more. So it's just like a natural evolution of an expanding brand.
Yeah, that makes sense. I was interviewing about a week ago. It's on my show. I can't remember his first name at the moment, but he's with BBQGrills.com. And he sells, not only the grills, but all the instruments and accessories.
Mm-hmm.
And he's grown exponentially, way beyond where we thought it would be. Although we had kind of an idea that he was going to be in the right market based on his history. He
nice.
creates all of his own content, which blew me away. He does not outsource any of the writing. Do you have
Nice.
do you do all your own content creation, or do you kind of have a team built to help you with that?
Yeah, we do, but I have a team as well.
Yeah.
In fact, one of my teammates, Denise, I'm literally pausing right in the middle here because this light is driving me crazy.
Yeah,
See,
yeah.
this is part of a team. Can you put a flag up there or something that is gonna? Okay, live.
That's what I love about the live stream, man. It's real.
Yeah,
You
and
know?
I was like, oh, I didn't think about that this time of day. Sorry, guys.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
my ear is glowing. I mean, I had a team from my marketing company, and really what happened is I kind of absorbed them into the skincare line, and so we had been phasing out external clients. So
Mm-hmm.
my old company, Duff, we did have we had designers, we have coders, we had the whole thing, and then we just forgot to shut a phone off.
No worries.
So full panoply of everything here.
Yeah, there you go.
But we do almost all of the content here, and
Okay.
Denise is a trained photographer, did it forever, videographer. She's a writer. I'm a writer. It's like we do what we need to do, and again, that's the immersing yourself. At this point we don't have an external team, but we do have some amazing talent within this team.
That's awesome. Question. So I know that you talked about Facebook ads and email. These are obviously drivers of traffic, new customers, repeat customers. Are there other channels? I mean, you don't have to go into all your strategies and the nuts and bolts, but are there other platforms or strategies that you're using to drive traffic to your website and engage more customers?
Yeah, the pillars are the pillars. That's funny because I just watched an Ezra Firestone webinar last night. See, you always have to be learning, and he calls them the pillars. But
yeah,
we drive a lot of the cold traffic. Most of the cold traffic is driven from Facebook ads.
okay.
But we do have social media, and my wife is posting all of the time, and we have like I said, I don't even consider it aggressive email campaign, but it's constant, it's continual, and the way that I look at it is the world is so busy right now that if you're not always in the face of your clients, your customers, they're gonna forget you because somebody else, there's another shiny object there. So even if it's just a reminder, even if it's just an outreach, we actually just posted a new girl that we just hired on nothing but outreach. She actually is just emailing customers right now and just checking in and seeing how they're doing. Because like I said, it's a relationship, and we want to keep that relationship mature. And we do think they're important, and we want to make sure that they know that we are. Some other things that we're starting to get into are live streams, a bit like this, with Denise interviewing other powerful women, because our market is mostly female. So there's that. There's expanding our the YouTube channel with other content, tutorials, application, that kind of thing. So there's a number of things in the works, in the down the pipe, I guess. But that's basically our strategy right now, driving a lot of cold traffic to the site with Facebook ads. I'm about to jump into Google ads. I know they're a little warmer, but when we do get somebody's attention, we want to just keep letting them know that we're around.
Absolutely. And do you guys do any retargeting, remarketing? Is that part of your strategy?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes, absolutely. If you're running any kind of Facebook, actually any kind of campaign that you're paying a digital, what I would tell my clients is, if you're walking into a bar and you just walk up to somebody and ask them to marry you, would they? Chances are they're going to say no. But
Right.
one out of maybe every 100 or so will probably say yes, just on a whim, right?
Right.
Guess what the online conversion is overall for the internet? 1%.
Probably, yeah, 1%. So you get
It's 1%.
Right.
Right. And when I give seminars on this stuff, that's a question I ask. I'm like, okay, so would you do that? And everybody there is like, no, I would never walk into a bar and ask. And I'm like, so why do you do that to your clients? And they're like, what do you mean? I'm like, okay, so there's the maturity of the relationship. Again, you'll get, if you can get a good, even a decent return on the cold traffic ads, that's awesome. But really, that pays a lot for the warm retargeting campaigns and the hot retargeting campaigns. And those are the ones that will pay off more, and your cost per acquisition will be a lot less on those. And you just have to do it, because you don't just want to go to people who don't know you, hey, buy me. And then most of them will go, well, no, and then never follow up with them again, because depending on whose statistics you read, it could be between 7 and 20 times somebody has to engage with your brand before they feel like they trust enough to actually buy from you. So you can't just do cold traffic all the time. You have to retarget.
Yeah. You bring up an interesting statistic 20 times. I was reading this advertisement, what do you call it, tutorial from 1885. Okay, it's like 140 years ago, going, here's how you do marketing and advertising, right? And he says it takes 20 impressions. This is
right.
1885, when there was no cell phone, no internet. I mean, you were lucky if a buggy drove by and had a sign on it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And this guy's like, well, you better drive that buggy past them 20 times before they actually buy from you. So there's
Amazing.
these universal truths that, still occur today. It was good. You talked about YouTube retargeting. Are you moving into the world of influencers? Like to me, it's like I could just see Instagram models doing, talking about your product.
Yes, we are. I totally forgot about that. That's another arm of the octopus.
Yeah.
And it is it's something it's something that happened organically. There were a number of kind of high profile celebrities that just were given the product as gifts by friends, and they were like, this is amazing. And suddenly it was like, what happened? Why was there this huge spike in the sales? And we're like, oh, this actress, on Saturday Night Live just mentioned us in her story. Those kinds of things happened organically, and we're like, huh, there's something to this. So we're we're investigating. We've been reaching out to a number of influencers, and that's something that it's not that hard to do. I mean, there are actually agencies that you can go to and say, hey, this is what I need. Or what was that?
I said, isn't that crazy that there's agencies for influencers? It's like
anywhere there's a market, someone's going to set up shop. Yeah. But it's not that hard to do on your own, honestly. Depending what your budget is, you can just start checking out hashtags, look at other brands. People are they're using influencers, so you can see if they've got 7 million followers, chances are you're not going to be able to afford them, because they're going to ask for 10 or 20 grand for a mention. Right. But it depends on where you are in your life cycle. in your expansion story, that, you'll be able to throw an influencer $75, and they have 15,000 really engaged followers. That is probably money well spent.
Yeah, it's a great point that you're bringing up. I was reading about that micro influencers, maybe they only have 10 or 15,000 followers only. I mean,
Right.
20 years ago that would have been an incredible number, but now we kind of
Right.
use the word only with that number. But they only have 15,000 engaged followers, and for, like you said, $75. My gosh,
Right.
that's cheaper than a day's spend on Facebook, and they just reached
Yeah. Oh,
15,000 people for you.
yeah, exactly. And you can tell too, when you're looking at their feed, you see the amount of comments and the amount of likes. And if they have 300,000 followers and they have 10 likes on a photo, then you are pretty easy to tell that those followers were purchased.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think it's having that micro influencer who has a high engagement level per, percentage wise. So
Yeah,
I think that's
it's that relationship, right? It's the engagement.
yeah.
You want somebody engaged with their clientele so that when they say, you guys need to try this in your face cream, that they go, oh, well, yeah, I do, because this person who I am engaging with told me I should. Yeah, it's great.
Great tips. So what are some of the new products that have recently come out that they can find out on In Your Face Skincare?
Yeah, we just released a new wash, a ginger mint wash, which is shower friendly. I mean, we're a premium brand, and all the products are in glass containers. It's just a great experience. As he pulls one out of his drawer, this is what this is the cream. I use this every day. I'm not lying here. Oops, where's my thing there?
I like the fact that it's in glass. It's kind of like it does feel premium when it's in glass.
We took time on the experience. Even the cap, we're going to do an ASMR thing on this at some point. I know it, because cap, the disc liner, these products are expensive to make because they're natural. So
Right.
we realized that we had to charge a premium price in order for it to make sense. So we wanted the whole experience to be premium. It's, we're not luxury. We're not charging hundreds of dollars per ounce for this stuff, but it's, like I said, it's expensive to make. It's not filled with a lot of fillers, and it's not filled with any fillers. That's the problem. If we only had no integrity.
Yeah. If we sold our soul to the devil.
Yeah, but again, that's the thing. That's why we love when people email us, because we know that this is an experience we spent time on. The ginger mint is actually the only product that we have in a plastic container, because we had some women tell us that, hey, listen, the moisturizing wash, which is a chlorophyll gel, in a glass container, a couple of them dropped them in their shower and they broke. And we were like, oh, yeah, we should. Denise was pretty adamant. She goes, we need something in plastic. It's not our ethos particularly. We prefer the more earth friendly, but it became like again, listening to your clientele, it's like, okay, so we need to do that. And there's we've got all sorts of stuff coming out. I don't want to let too many cats out of the bag. Although you guys just, if you're not even listening to this right now, go to inyourfaceskincare.com and you can see all the stuff that's there. But it's growing and expanding, quickly and rapidly, and it's a blast.
That's awesome. I can definitely tell that you guys are having fun, and it definitely permeates throughout your product line. Well, hey, Michael, it's been a great pleasure. You've given us some real actionable stuff. I'm really excited. Even for me, I understand the e-commerce more a little bit better, and your tips on Facebook ads, retargeting, how you're working with influencers, and I think even key is really building that relationship with email. But all of that is built on the core that you guys have really taken a lot of care and love to just build a product that is, it's an ethical product. It's a holistic product. it's something you believe in. And I think these are great takeaways for everybody if they're looking to succeed in the e-commerce world.
Awesome.
Any last words before we go?
There's so much. I think just being passionate about what you do. It's even if it's not something that you think is your life's purpose.
Mm-hmm.
Because honestly, I couldn't have told you that, creating a skincare line was my life's purpose.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you what, when you're doing something that you like and you can believe in the product and believe in what you're doing, it's super fun. And the more you jump in, I guess that's the if I was going to give one takeaway, jump in. Don't just dip your foot in, jump in, because you can always jump out.
Yeah.
But if you just
True.
put your you just put your toe in. And I just a quick aside that I think makes sense. I would have clients that would tell me absolutely that Facebook ads don't work, and I'm like, really? And they're like, yeah, I ran this campaign for a month and it just did nothing. And I was like, oh wow, well let me see it. And they give me access, and I look, and they spent $25 for the entire month. And I went, oh, okay. But it's just, and you can't fault them, because it's just they didn't know that the algorithm, it actually needs to work in order to learn. And that's where we're at now with these algorithms. They actually are learning as they go. So when you give them money, which and you let them do their job, they learn. And that's the jumping in part. You do need to actually really do things and get in there, get in the dirt, as Gary Vee says, get in the dirt, and dive in.
It's great. I love that. That's right. You got to get in, you got to work the algorithms. And it's not just the AI that's in the algorithms that are learning, you're learning. So it's a learning process, and you're going to have to pay for that learning process and go through the pains of learning and evolving. And that's a cycle of business.
Yeah.
Awesome. Hey guys, thank you again for joining Growth Driven. Whether you're watching this as a YouTube right now or later on, or you're going to be listening to this on the various podcasts that we stream this to later on, thank you so much for being part of this community. And Michael, thank you once again for just contributing to this community, offering your knowledge. And I think maybe in about 6 months or a year, we'd love to have you back and kind of teach us some new things that you've learned regarding e-commerce.
Thank you. I would love that. That would be great.
Great. All right, guys, be well, and we'll see you soon again.